John Daly's career was never just about his monster drives or the two major championships that turned him into a legend. His story runs much deeper than the scorecards. It's shaped by four powerful relationships that reveal exactly who he was in the world of professional golf. Some began as fierce rivalries, others evolved into unexpected friendships, and that one never truly healed. But before we break down those four game-changing connections, we have to rewind to where it all began. Born on April 28, 1966, John Daly didn't simply arrive on the golf scene, he crashed into it like a storm. His 1991 PGA Championship win remains one of the greatest underdog stories in sports. He was the ninth alternate, slipping into the field at the last possible moment. Then he walked out with the trophy like it was fate. With booming power off the tee, blue-collar swagger, and zero interest in golf's polished country club persona, Daly was unlike anyone the sport had ever seen. Then came his second major, the 1995 Open Championship, cementing his place in golf history forever. But that's only half the story. The other half lives inside a massive 456-page PGA Tour disciplinary file that documented Daly's chaotic roller coaster from 1991 to 2008. The file surfaced after Daly filed a lawsuit that led to its release, and what it revealed was stunning. Inside were 5 PGA Tour suspensions, 7 orders for counseling and rehab, 21 warnings for not giving his best effort, 11 citations for unprofessional behavior, 6 rounds of probation, and nearly $100,000 in fines. It even included the infamous 1994 confrontation with Jeff Roth, a heated blow-up that cost Daly $20,000 and effectively ended his season. John Daly wasn't just a golfer. He was a thunderstorm the PGA Tour never saw coming. And the disciplinary file didn't just contain warnings, it was loaded with jaw-dropping moments that proved how unpredictable Daly could be. There were reports of property damage, reckless stunts, and antics that made national headlines. His biggest fine, another $20,000, came after he launched golf balls over the heads of spectators during a 1993 exhibition. It was wild, risky, and pure Daly chaos. The list went on, teeing off with a ball perched on a beer can handed to him by Kid Rock, walking out of tournaments mid-round, missing tee times, even showing up shirtless and barefoot to a course opening. Fans could never tell whether Daly was rebelling against golf's uptight image or just living life with zero filters. John Daly didn't just break golf's rules, he ignored them entirely. Whether he was rebelling against golf's rigid culture or simply living life on his own terms, one thing was certain, Daly never played by anyone else's rulebook. But the part that hit the hardest wasn't the fines, the blow-ups, or even the suspensions. It was the 21 official citations for failing to give his best effort. These weren't about anger or drama, they were about quitting mid-round, walking off the course, or showing visible frustration toward the sport, the fans, and the events themselves. One moment stood out most, the day Daly famously ran up an 18 on a single hole at Bay Hill. It clashed completely with the blue-collar hero image fans adored. It was raw, messy, and painfully human, and it showed the battle quietly boiling inside him. Off the course, Daly's life was just as turbulent. He openly admitted to losing between $55 and $57 million in gambling over a 15-year stretch, a staggering number that revealed just how deep his struggles ran. His financial chaos mirrored his professional chaos, both spiraling out of the same self-destructive streak that followed him throughout his career. And in many ways, it all goes back to his early days on tour. In 1991, during his rookie season at the Bel-Air Classic in Atlanta, Daly found himself in the middle of a tense confrontation that set the tone for his lifelong clash with golf's old guard. The putting green was packed, 6 holes, 146 players. As Daly practiced his 6-foot putts, another player's ball kept rolling toward him. Daly tapped it back each time, being polite, until he looked up and saw Curtis Strange, 2-time US Open champion and one of the most respected veterans in the game. According to Daly, Strange didn't bother with courtesy. He said, "You do not putt when a veteran is putting. You're a rookie. Step away and let me do my thing. I've won 2 US Opens." Daly didn't back down. Not even for a second. He snapped right back. "Really? Have you looked around? There's only 6 holes and about 50 guys on this putting green." That exchange was the spark that would ignite one of the most notorious rivalries in modern golf. But it didn't end there. Daly later revealed the full argument, and the moment became legendary. He fired back at Strange with a line only Daly could deliver. "2 things are going to happen. 1, I'm a redneck from Arkansas and I'm going to keep putting on this hole. 2, I'm going to break your body into 6 pieces so you'll never win a 3rd US Open. So get out of my way so I can work on my game." That was John Daly, raw, fearless, unpredictable, and completely uninterested in golf's unwritten pecking order. Strange walked away, likely realizing he had just run into a man who couldn't be intimidated. And that tension? It never went away. Decades later, when Lee Westwood asked Daly which golfer he'd least want to go on a trip with, Daly didn't even pause. His answer was brutal. "That's the only golfer I've ever hated. Full stop. Hate him. I hate him. Don't get me started. Biggest ever." He even added he'd say it in front of Strange's family without hesitation. That grudge ran deep, 30 years deep. And here's the wild part, that putting green showdown happened just 4 months before Daly shocked the world by winning the 1991 PGA Championship. Proof that his rebellious streak wasn't something fame created, it was baked into him from day one. That standoff was never just about putting etiquette. It was about pride, belonging, and class. Curtis Strange represented golf's elite establishment, the quiet, proper, country club world where tradition ruled. John Daly represented the outsider, the working-class kid who didn't care about fancy rules or social hierarchies. It was more than a disagreement. It was golf's culture war, played out on the practice green. The Ryder Cup isn't just another tournament. It's pride, patriotism, legacy. It's the moment when the golf world decides who belongs at the table, and who never will. And for Daly, being excluded wasn't just a professional decision. It was personal. It was the sport telling him, "You're good enough to win our majors, but not good enough to wear our colors." That message cut deeper than any fine, any suspension, any headline about his chaotic lifestyle. Daly had always been the people's champion, loved by fans, feared by fairways, and distrusted by golf's gatekeepers. But being left out of the Ryder Cup hammered in a truth he'd never quite shaken. No matter how big his achievements were, the establishment always wanted someone else. Someone cleaner, quieter, safer. Not John Daly, and that's what made the rejection unforgettable, because when Daly looked at the 2006 Ryder Cup disaster, when he saw Team USA get dismantled, embarrassed, and outplayed, he didn't celebrate out of pettiness. He saw validation. He saw the consequences of ignoring fire in favor of formality. He saw exactly what he'd been warning the sport about for years, and deep down, he knew this. Golf didn't just reject Daly. It rejected the part of the game he represented, raw instinct, imperfect brilliance, and a heart that swung harder than any driver he ever held. But Daly's story wasn't only about battles with the establishment. His life on tour was shaped by the people he met, 3 friendships that grounded him, and 1 rivalry that almost broke him. And those 4 relationships, they reveal more about the man behind the legend than any disciplinary file ever could. That revealed something most fans never knew. Behind the differences, the headlines, and the philosophical clash, there was deep respect. Maybe even admiration, because for all their contrasts, Daly and Woods were connected by one truth: both of them played golf with their hearts exposed. Tiger expressed it through discipline, obsession, and silence. Daly expressed it through chaos, emotion, and unfiltered honesty. But the fire, the passion, the soul? It came from the same place, and Daly has always said something important about Tiger, something few golfers would dare to admit: he's the greatest ever. "The best I've ever seen," Daly once said, adding that Tiger's work ethic and mental strength were on a completely different level. Daly never resented Tiger's greatness. If anything, he admired it more than most. Their relationship wasn't built on rivalry. It was built on 2 different versions of greatness trying to understand each other. But Daly's story in the world of professional golf wasn't defined only by Tiger Woods or Curtis Strange. There were 2 other relationships that shaped his journey, one that lifted him up, and one that quietly broke him. One was a brotherhood he never expected, forged in shared struggles and mutual respect. The other was a heartbreaking fracture with a man he once considered a mentor, a split that left a scar he rarely talks about. And those final 2 relationships, they reveal sides of John Daly the world rarely sees: the loyal friend, the wounded son, and the man who never stopped fighting to be understood. And that gesture from Daly, reaching out to Tiger after the accident, was something Woods deeply appreciated. It revealed what their relationship had truly become: mutual respect between 2 men who represented completely different sides of golf. Their clash was never personal. It was a collision of 2 visions of professionalism. Tiger embodied the modern era: elite discipline, endless practice, physical perfection. Daly represented the old school: pure instinct, raw talent, and a gut-driven approach untouched by playbooks or routines. And that's what made their connection so fascinating. Together, they represented a generational shift, from the free-spirited, feel-based golfers of the past to the hyper-focused, precision-driven athletes of today. Tiger brought athleticism, fitness, psychology, and an almost superhuman work ethic that changed everything. Before him, golf wasn't about hours in the gym or meticulous mental training. It was about talent and natural rhythm. Daly was the last of that fading breed. So when Tiger made his famous comment about Daly using a golf cart, it wasn't just a jab, it was a clash of philosophies. In Tiger's world, pain is something you push through with steel-hard mental will. In Daly's world, pain is real and something you adapt around, not ignore. Neither mindset was wrong, they were simply different. Their later reconciliation proved the respect ran deep. Tiger knew Daly's 2 major titles required enormous skill. Daly understood Tiger's dominance came from a level of discipline he never possessed. They were opposites, and that's exactly why they appreciated each other. Then came David Feherty, one of Daly's closest friends and one of the most influential voices in shaping his legacy. Their bond revealed how Daly's chaos eventually became part of his charm, a brand fans couldn't resist. Their story began in 1990 on the Sunshine Tour in South Africa. A young, unknown Daly edged out Feherty by 1 stroke to win the AECI Charity Classic. Feherty later laughed about their first meeting, remembering Daly, skinny, fearless, and unknown, standing right behind him on the first tee. Daly won, and in classic fashion turned a rivalry into a friendship with an open invitation to celebrate that night. Feherty joked that by the time he arrived at Daly's hotel, Daly had probably already spent his entire winner's check. That moment set the tone for a friendship defined by humor, chaos, and authenticity. As Feherty transitioned into broadcasting, he became Daly's most understanding voice. On his show, he could joke about Daly being a train wreck while still celebrating his incredible natural ability. Their moments together, like Daly teeing off a ball placed in Feherty's mouth, became iconic glimpses into Daly's wild but lovable world. Feherty did something powerful, he helped reshape Daly's public identity. While Daly's 456-page PGA disciplinary file painted him as a walking controversy, Feherty's perspective revealed the person behind the chaos. He didn't excuse Daly's flaws, but he gave them context. Both men had battled addiction and mental health issues. Both were outsiders in a sport built on tradition and polish. And through that shared struggle, Feherty humanized Daly in a way no one else could. He helped turn Daly from a cautionary tale into a folk hero, the blue-collar rebel who refused to bow to golf's elite culture. Feherty reminded fans that Daly wasn't just a headline. He was heart, humor, vulnerability, and brutal honesty wrapped in one unpredictable package. Ultimately, Daly's entire story comes down to 4 defining relationships: Curtis Strange, the wound that shaped his fire; Tom Lehman, the rejection that fueled his resentment; Tiger Woods, the philosophical clash that defined an era; David Feherty, the friend who helped turn his chaos into a legacy. John Daly wasn't just a golfer, he was a living contradiction. Wild yet gifted. Fearless yet flawed. Loved by the public, rejected by the establishment. Each of the men in his story revealed a different piece of him. Strange met his rage. Lehman saw his unpredictability. Tiger challenged his mindset. Feherty understood his heart. In the end, Daly's legacy isn't just about trophies. It's about the battles he fought, the people who underestimated him, and the few who truly understood the man behind the myth. Even at 59, he remains one of golf's most fascinating, unpredictable, and deeply human stories. If you enjoyed this breakdown of John Daly's wild ride through golf history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more stories about the icons who changed the game forever.